So here we are. We've got part 2 of our Blue-Red Spells edition of Full Force. We'll get right into it. You guys already kind of know the rules, what we're looking for. I think that I've learned a bit from that first draft. I was surprised it went as well as it did, but we did get Geralf's Masterpiece, so I mean, that's definitely part of it. So this is awkward. And the reason why it's awkward is because it isn't awkward. I'll explain in a second. What I mean is that Slayer's Plate is just absurdly good. Like, this card's insane. But it's not really, like, in the keeping of the spells deck that I want. So, I mean, do I want to take it? I guess. The problem is I guess I wouldn't take it if there was, like, a Rise from the Tides or something to stay more in keeping with, like, forcing the blue-red spells type deck. But there's no spells in this pack here. I mean, we have Kessig Forgemaster, which is another aggressive card. We have Sleep Paralysis, which is just a removal spell. Like, the only spell we have is Uncaged Fury, and that's also just an aggressive card. So that's not exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for, again, like the draw spells, ways to gain tempo, and, you know, Rise from the Tides, that kind of thing. So I'll take Slayer's Plate, and then we will try and push it from there. Alright, now we have Devil's Playground. I will just slam it. It is a spell. It's a decent one. I don't think it's amazing, but it can certainly do work. It will end games a fair amount of the time. When your opponent gets low on life, there's really nothing they can do about it once you play a Devil's Playground. They either take the damage from the creatures, or they take the damage, you know, when they die, so I will snap that up here. Now we have, well, there's some good black cards, or at least a good black card, Guess is Bidding. Crow of Dark Tidings isn't terrible. Choked Estuary is a thing. It's possible I could splash some black cards. We have Furtive Homunculus and Magmatic Chasm as actual blue and red cards. I mean, this is about forcing blue and red. I'm not going to be taking the black card. I could possibly take Choked Estuary. And then I can take a black card at some point, just as a splash. But, I mean, I don't ever want to splash Guess's Bidding. Alright, I think I'm just going to take Furtive Homunculus. I know that seems really weird. It's obviously not the pick if we weren't doing this. But it's a decent enough, like, early game blocker that you can just trade off. So, I'll snap one up here. Wow, this is really not wanting us to be blue or red. We have Murderous Compulsion, which is great for black. Yeah, I mean, we're passing a lot of very good black cards trying to make this work. Is somebody else specifically doing what we're doing? Because that's about what makes sense at this point. It could also be a couple weak packs in a row, certainly, but this is a little strange. I guess that we take Seacroft Scob? It's fine. I mean, it does block early, I suppose. It's certainly not something that I want to play, though. Yeah, more good black cards. Throttle and Deadweight. Deadweight especially is quite good. We'll take Reduce to Ashes, though. Because, again, we're in the game for some spells, so we are going to take almost every spell that we can find. Stormrider Spirit is probably the more defensible pick here, but we want to force people out of spells. We're going to take spells. That's what we want to do. So I'm going to grab that. Now, I'm going to take Blood Mad Vampire. After playing that first draft and thinking about this a little bit more, I do think that there is room for, like, a blue-red tempo spells deck that has things like Blood Mad Vampire and Pyrehound and a bunch of, like, Stitched Manglers and Just the Wind and things like that. I'd rather not be that deck, but at this point it's looking like we might have to be. I guess I could take Epiphany at the Drown Yard. The problem is I just hate this card. I don't think it's good. Your opponent getting to choose which pile goes to your hand is just, like, so bad for you. I've never had it end well. So Blood Mad or Epiphany? I think I'm going to take the Blood Mad. Ooh, Fevered Visions. Alright, that's our first, like, spicy card. That's the kind of card that I'm looking for. I want some spice. We want some hot stuff in here. Alright, wow, Sleep Paralysis Wheeled. This is the wheel, right? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, no it isn't. This is the last card before the wheel. Or, I don't know. Anyways, Sleep Paralysis is here, surprisingly. And a second sleep paralysis. Alright, so sleep paralysis did wheel. This is the pack it wheeled from. It was throwing me off because it looked similar. Alright, Storm Rider Spirit. I don't really like pieces of the puzzle all that much unless I absolutely have a Rise from the Tides, and I should be able to get them pretty late. So I guess this is a Storm Rider Spirit. I'll try and get a Deny Existence at some point too, but I should be able to get one. Magmatic Chasm is decent enough in the spells list. Alright, take out Lamplighter. I mean, I'm not excited to play Magmatic Chasm. See, and there's our pieces of the puzzle. We have to have a Rise from the Tides to make pieces of the puzzle work. That's the problem. I wonder, is somebody from chat joining? Somebody from chat, like, sniping my drafts and just forcing blue-red as well? Because that was a really weird pack one. Black was so open. I'm expecting that now we're going to get a lot more blue and red cards because we just took all of the ones that we saw and ignored some really good cards in other colors to make this work. So I'm going to guess that people are moving out of blue and red and we might get some more cards. Plus, of course, the people that were taking blue and red would be on our right, and now we're not going to be getting passed from them. So that makes a bit of a difference, too. But I'm thinking that we'll pick up some good ones here. Hopefully we get... I'd love a Reckless Scholar or a Mad Prophet. Obviously, Rise from the Tides is one of the #1 cards that we want, because I just really, really want to have a blue-red spells list with Rise from the Tides. Pyrehound would be great. Well... We're testing my resolve to stick this out and use this as one of the drafts for our video series, because Sorin is actually probably worth a little bit, too. I'm kind of curious what Sorin is actually worth. Let me just see here. Right now it's about 5 tickets, so it's a $5 card. I can give that up. I don't like to, but I can. Man, there's some really good cards for us here. There's actually, 3 first-pick cards that I want. Geist Blast, Mad Prophet, and Pyrehound are all fantastic in our deck. I think... I think we want Mad Prophet? I don't know. This is really good. These are all great. Mad Prophet, rips through our deck so well. That's why I just love that card. And that's what we want to do. We want to get cards into our graveyard. We want to be able to use Nagging Thoughts. We want to be able to get Rise from the Tides. Since it spells, I'm going to take Geist Blast. I don't have to wheel the Pyrehound. Maybe that's just wrong. Inner Struggle and a Pyrehound. I'm taking Pyrehound this time. We want some Pyrehounds. We're going to make the spells matter, so let's do that. I'm probably taking out a Sleep Paralysis. Problem is that it's not a spell and it's not a creature, so it kind of doesn't fit what we're trying to do. There's Gone Missing, Silent Observer, Howlpack. Nothing great. I could take Gone Missing just as another spell. It's really slow and not really what I want to be doing. Our opponent, the person on our left, is just going to be like, why is there a common missing when there's a sword in the pack? They're gonna... That's just gonna throw them right off. Alright, so Gone Missing, Howlpack, or Silent. Ugh. I guess I'll take Howlpack. We're kind of a more aggressive version of the deck. I don't want to be, but I mean, this is what we're stuck with. Murderer's Axe. We don't have any Madness cards yet. I think the Geist Blast is okay because we did need some removal. I don't love the Sleep Paralysis. It's just so mana inefficient. And there's some creatures that, paralysis on them doesn't really do anything, like Handwear Militia Captain or Duskwatch Recruiter, things like that. Whereas Geist Blast might actually just get rid of them. Silberlin Snapper. I'm not interested in any of these. I guess the Murderer's Axe? Just maybe as a Madness Enabler, if we can get some Madness. Wow, speaking of Duskwatch Recruiter, that thing is super late here. Really, really late. I guess that we just take Trail of Evidence, though. I'm not sure that I want to play this card. I've never tried it in any of my decks. I've never once played it, I'll be totally honest, because it looks really bad. It looks totally unplayable. But, I mean, if there is a deck that it goes in, I guess that it's this one, because we're trying to play spells, so snap it up and see what happens. Alright, Broken Concentration is a spell that I want, so we'll take that. There is a Rise from the Tides. Finally a little bit of light. Now I wish I'd taken Mad Prophet instead of Geist Blast, just because it helps us get through our deck so fast for Rise from the Tides, but what do you do? Aberrant Researcher would be a good pickup, but it's not as important as Rise from the Tides. I need more spells. Alright, Press for Answers is good. Another spell, another Press for Answers, or a Tormenting Voice. I think at this point, because of the Rise from the Tides now, I do want the Tormenting Voice. Normally I would say, like, Press for Answers might be better because it buys us a bunch of time, and it does still draw us a card, but just being able to, like, again, shred through our decks so that we can get to Rise from the Tides, just dump things into our graveyard over and over and over, and hopefully draw the Rise. That's what we want to do. That is the goal. I wish that this would actually target players, because we might be able to target ourselves. Unfortunately, it doesn't, so we're going to take Niblis of Dusk. Probably going to cut Howlpack Wolf. I might keep Silent Observer in, because we do have a bunch of spells, and we're trying to kind of go that route. We might go really slow with Rise from the Tides and want a big wall. Gone Missing just seems super mediocre. Snapper, I guess, can be a wall as well. I'll take the Seagraph Scob. We do have 19 playables, so I don't know. The deck's looking okay. I don't want to play Trail of Evidence if possible. It's another card, too, that it doesn't count as a creature for us to, like, chump block or trade or, you know, make a wall with, but it also doesn't count as a spell, so it's, like, card has to be pretty good to not operate on either of those levels when we're trying to make, you know, all of our spells really matter. We've got to have a large percentage of spells to make Rise from the Tides work, so, you know, Trail of Evidence just kind of cuts back on what we can actually play with. Oof, wow. Well, From Under the Floorboards is excellent, but we're not going to be able to play it, because that's not the type of deck we're playing. If we had actually gone black, man, our deck would be so good. We'd have Sorin from Under the Floorboards. We'd have been getting past, like, late Giss's Biddings and Murderous Compulsions from Pack 1. Would have been pretty good, but that's not what this is about. This is about drafting some sweet, sweet, sweet decks. And right now, it's blue-red. So we're just going to keep going that direction. Another Blood Mad Vampire. We're split between the two different blue-red decks. We're split between a deck that's, like, got Press for Answers and Blood Mad Vampire and Magmatic Chasm and Niblis of Dusk and just tries to go for the face. And we're split between a deck that's, like, slow and playing Silent Observer and Rise from the Tides and just wants to get really, really late game. I'm not sure what I want to do here. I could just take Press for Answers and ignore the Blood Mad. I have very, very few creatures right now, so I need some even just to trade eventually. Press for Answers does buy me more time. It's not the worst. I think I'm just going to take Press. I really want Rise from the Tides to work. We kind of beat down our opponents last time that we were drafting this, like in the first example. So we're just going to take Press for Answers and try and go the more controlling list and see if we can't make it work. Now we have, well, Duelist. So again, more aggro, like, tempo-type plays, which would be really good in a blue-red deck. If we were playing, like, the Press for Answers and the Blood Mad Vampires, just lets them get in, and once these get in, they get really unstoppable really quick. I mean, it looks like the card. There's just literally nothing else. I could take Explosive Apparatus, I suppose, as another removal spell. Kind of, but, it just seems so bad. All right, we'll take Duelist. Now we get Dance with Devils. That's a card that I actually want. It's a creature and a spell. Can't get much better than that. I need to play things like that for sure. As often as I can get them, in fact. Ooh. This is Innistrad. Oh, wow. Now, this is a pack that we want. We have Pyrehound, Forgotten Creation, and, like, Niblis of Dusk, and Catalog. I'm interested in Forgotten Creation here. Because I'm thinking, like, we were talking about ripping through our deck really fast to get to Rise from the Tides. Well, hello, that kind of does it. We have a glut of 4-drops. Like, we have a lot of 4s. So it might not be the best in that regard. How many spells do we actually have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to go with as sweet as possible. We're going to take Forgotten Creation and just see what happens. And maybe that's really wrong, and maybe it comes back to bite me, but I want to test it out. It seems like it's kind of cool. It seems like it'll be fun. It seems like it gets to Rise from the Tides really fast. We just dump everything, don't care at all what we have in our hand, and just try and get to Rise. But, you know, we'll see how it works. Niblis Seduska is fine. I will take another one. Not, like, super happy with it, but it's acceptable. Ooh, Just the Wind, Erdwall, Illuminator, and Dance Devils. Really late on Illuminator. We don't have enough clues or anything to make that worthwhile, and it's not really the style of the deck. Dance with Devils, as I said before, is very good, but it's another 4. I have, like, no 2-drops. I have Furtive Homunculus, and that's it. So, I kind of need to buy time. Just the Wind does buy us a little bit of time. I feel like just for the mana cost that I have to take Just the Wind. It seems like it's a downgrade from Dance Devils, obviously, but I think that it's just a sacrifice we have to make the deck more playable and able to actually last early game. Ooh, Aberrant Researcher. That's a card that I'm quite interested in. Let's take out Stormrider Spirit and maybe Silent Observer and play Aberrant Researcher. We only have 7 creatures. This is a Spells Matters list, I will put it that way. Spells definitely matter. Trail of Evidence. I'm not going to play that. I'll take Senseless Rage from somebody, I guess. Wow, Blood Mad Vampire Wield. That's crazy. I mean, the card's not amazing, but I wouldn't expect it to wheel. Let's take Nagging Thoughts. I want the spells to actually do something, and I really want to try and dig down to Rise from the Tides. That's our absolute #1 goal, is to get that online. And that does dig us deeper into our deck. So, alright, I'll take Nagging Thoughts. I'm sold. This is all about going deep, and we're going to go very deep. Magmatic Chasm, sure. I'm going to take out the other Magmatic Chasm we have. Ooh, Catalog. Hello. I'll take that. So, what do we cut for Catalog? Maybe a Sleep Paralysis. I'm low on removal, though, so I'm not super excited about that. I could take out Deny Existence. I do have Broken Concentration. I like the idea of Fevered Visions, just to test it out even, see what happens. And again, it does just draw us a bunch of cards, and eventually we want to draw Rise from the Tides and just hold it until we have a ton of things in our graveyard. So what do we do here? It's too bad we didn't wheel that other pie around. We need to cut 1 card. I feel like we're going to just, like, equip up Niblis Seduska with Slayer's Plate, like, half of our games and win that way. If we're going to win games, that's going to be, like, most of the ways that we win it. I'm going to take out Sleep Paralysis. I just want to have as many spells as possible. This is almost certainly not the way to build the deck if you're trying to win again, but we're trying to just go really deep, and I want my spells to matter. I want to have a lot of them, and that's the best way to do it. I want to just keep drawing cards. We need lots and lots of value. We have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have 12 spells, not counting Rise from the Tides. So that's decent. I mean, we should be able to make a fairly large Rise from the Tides later in the game. I wish we had 2 of them for sure. If we can get, notably, if we can get to 9 mana, we can Geist Blast Rise from the Tides and get a lot of zombies if we have enough spells in our graveyard. Alright, well, let's add some lands and submit our deck. 10-7. Yeah, that actually seems just fine. We don't have a lot of red. That seems good. Yeah, I like that a lot. Alright, we're good to go. Submit. See you guys for rounds. So I go Mountain. We get Tormenting Voice, and we discard... I'm not sure. I mean, discarding Blood Mad would be great, but I actually need mana to pay for it. Wow, our opponent's deck is really aggressive. This is a bad matchup for this style deck. I said that last time, and we actually managed to win the draft, but this time, this deck is a much slower version. That other one was kind of aggressive, And this version just isn't. This version's not going to be able to deal with like turn 1 Town Gossamonger into like turn 2 Veteran Cathar in any reasonable way.